We're back with the Twits. We are now on to chapter 16. I think looks like we're about halfway already. Probably not already actually, because you've had to see it in sections. The last chapter was Hug Tight Sticky Glue, and if you remember, Mr. Twit had put it on the trees to try and catch the birds ready for his bird pie. Chapter 16 that we're on now is called 4 Sticky Little Boys, and I think I asked you last time if you knew what you think might happen, so let's see if you were right. One Tuesday evening, after Mr. Twit had been up the ladder and smeared the tree with Hug Tight, 4 little boys crept into the garden to look at the monkeys. They didn't care about the thistles and stinging nettles, not when there were monkeys to look at. Imagine if one of your neighbours had monkeys in their garden. I think you'd go and have a look, wouldn't you? I think I would. After a while, they got tired of looking at the monkeys, so they explored further into the garden and found the ladder leaning against the big dead tree. They decided to climb up it for fun. There's nothing wrong with that. The next morning, when Mr. Twit went out to collect the birds, he found 4 miserable boys sitting in the tree, stuck as tight as could be by the seats of their pants to the branches. There were no birds because the presence of the boys had scared them away. Mr. Twit was furious. "As there are no birds for my pie tonight," he shouted, "then it'll have to be boys instead." Uh-oh. Looks quite cross, doesn't he, there? He started to climb the ladder. "Boy pie might be better than bird pie," he went on, grinning horribly. "More meat, and not so many little bones." The boys were terrified. "He's going to boil us," cried one of them. "He'll stew us alive," wailed the second one. "He'll cook us with carrots," cried the third. But the fourth little boy, who had more sense than the others, whispered, "Listen, I've just had an idea. We are only stuck by the seat of our pants. So quick, unbutton your pants and slip out of them and fall to the ground." Now, pants in some countries and some places means trousers. So I can see by the picture they actually mean their trousers, not their pants. Mr. Twit had reached the top of the ladder and was just about to make a grab for the nearest boy when they all suddenly tumbled out of the tree and ran for home with their naked bottoms winking at the sun. Or maybe it was their pants as well. And there they are, just their trousers left in the trees. Got them out though, didn't it? Chapter 17, The Great Upside Down Monkey Circus. I'll show you the picture already. Have a look at that. I wonder what's going to happen here. Now for the monkeys. The 4 monkeys in the cage in the garden were all one family. They were Mugglewump and his wife and their 2 small children. But what on earth were Mr. and Mrs. Twit doing with the monkeys in their garden? Bit strange. Well, in the old days, they had both worked in a circus as monkey trainers. They used to teach monkeys to do tricks and to dress up in human clothes and to smoke pipes and all the rest of that nonsense. Today, although they were retired, Mr. Twit still wanted to train monkeys. It was his dream that one day he would own the first great upside-down monkey circus in the world. That meant that the monkeys had to do everything upside down. They had to dance upside down, on their hands with their feet in the air. They had to play football upside down. They had to balance on top of one another upside down, with Mugglewump at the bottom and the smallest baby monkey at the very top. They even had to eat and drink upside down, and that's not an easy thing to do because the food and water has to go up your throat instead of down. In fact, it is almost impossible, but the monkeys simply had to do it, otherwise they got nothing. All this sounds pretty silly to you and me. It sounded pretty silly to the monkeys too. They absolutely hated having to do all this upside down nonsense day after day. It made them giddy standing on their heads for hours on end. But Mr. Twit didn't care about that. He kept them practicing for 6 hours every day, and if they didn't do as they were told, Mrs. Twit would soon come running with her beastly stick. My goodness, they're really not nice people, are they, these Twits? Chapter 18 is Roly Poly Bird to the Rescue. You might have seen the roly-poly bird in some of Roald Dahl's other books. Mugglewump and his family longed to escape from the cage in Mr. Twits' garden and go back to the African jungle where they came from. They hated Mr. and Mrs. Twit for making their lives so miserable. They also hated them for what they did to the birds every Tuesday and Wednesday. "Fly away, birds," they used to shout, jumping in and out of the cage, waving their arms. "Don't sit on that big dead tree. It's just smeared all over with sticky glue. Go and sit somewhere else." But these were English birds. They couldn't understand the weird African language the monkeys spoke. So they took no notice and went on using the big dead tree and getting caught for Mr. Twit's bird pie. Then one day, a truly magnificent bird flew down out of the sky and landed on the monkey's cage. There it is there, can you see it? "Good heavens," cried all the monkeys together. "It's the roly-poly bird. What on earth are you doing over here in England, roly-poly bird?" Like the monkeys, the roly-poly bird came from Africa and he spoke the same language as they did. I wonder if maybe you can look up some African, see if you can learn some of it, because it's this very interesting language. There's lots of different ones in Africa, but see if you can learn maybe a bit of one of them. "I've come for a holiday," said the roly-poly bird. "I like to travel." He fluffed his marvellous coloured feathers and looked down rather grandly at the monkeys. "For most people," he went on, "flying away on holiday is very expensive, but I can fly anywhere in the world for nothing." "Do you know how to talk to these English birds?" Mugglewump asked him. "Of course I do," said the roly-poly bird. "It's no good going to a country and not knowing the language." "Then we must hurry," said Mugglewump. "Today it is Tuesday, and over there you can already see the revolting Mr. Twit up in the ladder, painting sticky glue on all the branches of the big dead tree. This evening, when all the birds come in to roost, you must warn them not to perch on that tree, or they will be made into bird pie." So that evening, the roly-poly bird flew round and round the big dead tree, singing out, "There's sticky stuff all over the tree. If you land in the branches, you'll never get free. So fly away, stay up high, or you'll finish up tomorrow in a hot bird pie." Do you think that will save all the birds? I hope so. So next time we'll be on chapter 19, which is No Bird Pie for Mr. Twit. I don't think he'll be very happy about that, will he? I'll see you next time.